Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? A great week of baseball, great weekend of baseball. The Dodgers are red hot. The Marlins with a crazy come-from-behind win that could have all but ended the Yankees season. The Mariners are playing great baseball. Did they make it into my top 10? We're going to talk some Wander Franco tonight. He's in the news. I don't know what's going on with that. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. Baseball fans, how you doing? Hello. A lot of familiar faces in the chat tonight. How's everyone doing? You have a good weekend? I had a good weekend. I'm feeling good. I went back to work this past week. Not gonna lie, it was really busy. I say this, I feel like every stream. If you don't know, I am a 4th grade teacher, and we just had our first day of school this past Thursday. First week back at school is always busy. There's always just so much going on, setting up the classroom, getting ready for the first day of school, getting to know your class, just all of it. There's just so much that goes into it. Getting organized for everything coming up for the school year. It's just a boatload, so it has been a little quiet here on the channel over the last week. I'm actually in the process of making a video, so stay tuned for that. I'm gonna actually try to post that probably tomorrow night. That is the goal. If not tomorrow night, definitely by Tuesday night. So be on the lookout for that video coming out in the next couple of days. Like I said, it's been quiet, but the power rankings must go on. We have to do the power rankings every single week. So welcome back to another episode of Power Rankings tonight. I hope you're all well. I am seeing, again, a lot of familiar faces. It's always nice to see the happy familiar faces coming on back. So everyone, let's get into it here. But before I do get started, if you are new, think about subscribing down below. We've been getting a lot of traffic lately on the channel. So if you are new, think about joining along for the ride. We're on our way to 40K subscribers. That would be awesome. That would be unbelievable if we can get to that. Hit that like button for us, everyone. The algorithm loves the like button. Hit the bell notification. That way you know I go live every single time. Share the stream if you can. I'll love you forever. We are sponsored here tonight, happily sponsored tonight by Underdog Fantasy. If you go to Underdog Fantasy and use my code HYDE, you get a double on your first deposit up to $100. What is Underdog Fantasy, you might ask? Well, I don't know. It's just a pretty easy way to go make some money. You can go do daily drafts. You can do daily pick'ems. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do. You can win up to millions in prizes. And we got football coming back as well. So if you are into football, hey, Underdog Fantasy, it's a great place to play. I've been doing a lot of pick'ems lately. This past weekend, I was a little slow on the pick'ems. But, hey, if you picked Matt Olson to, hit a couple of homers this weekend, then, hey, you're looking pretty good, if you ask me. So just some examples of some pick'ems. I mean, they got a whole bunch of different matchups. So, for example, Josh Bell, you can go higher or lower if he's going to get one single or more, or half a single or more. He's been hitting pretty well lately. So, going higher on that option would have been a good call. If we scroll down, someone like I don't know, Julio Rodriguez, 9.5 fantasy points. Do you think he'll get higher? Do you think he'll get lower? You can do rivals as well. You can go head-to-head matchups with players. Who's going to get more? For example, in football, Josh Allen or Justin Fields. Who's going to get more rushing touchdowns? So there's a whole bunch of different options. And one more thing about the drafts. I do like the drafts as well. I'm really into looking at the latest numbers, how hot some guys are, in Major League Baseball. I tend to base my picks off of that. And then, obviously just going with some sure bets like Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman. That's always a sure bet to give you some points. So go check out Underdog Fantasy. Would greatly appreciate it if you go check them out. The link is in the description down below. And again, you get a double on your first deposit. So everyone, thank you again for joining. Let's dive into it. We had pretty fun weekend of baseball. We had a great series with the Orioles and the Mariners. The Marlins with just an epic comeback against the Yankees. I don't know about you all, but the Yankees, listen, I'm not saying this, as a, biased Red Sox fan, as Draftnik Robbie, but that looked like just a nail in the coffin for the Yankees. Who knows? This has been just such an upside-down season. Who knows if the Yankees just get red hot? I don't know if I see that happening, but the Yankees just look all but done. When you have a loss like that, that just doesn't look good, if you ask me. So that was a crazy comeback for the Marlins. Epic comeback. One of the best comebacks I've seen in a while. My Red Sox playing all right. The Braves are just clobbering everyone lately, it seems. The Rangers are back on track. The Dodgers are red hot. So let's get into it, everyone. This is how it works here on Power Rankings. I start at number 30, and I go all the way to number 1. So because we are drawing closer to the playoffs, we now have, about 7 more weeks until the playoffs? That's exciting. That's exciting, isn't it? But we got 7 more weeks to the playoffs, so I'm really only going to maybe say a quick thing about the bottom 15. And once I get into the, more of the playoff contenders, that's when I'll talk about them a little bit more. So, hey, don't get mad at me if I don't talk too much about your team that's not in contention. I'm just trying to move things along over here. So here we go, everyone. Let's get into it. As I feel like I say this every single week, starting off at number 30, it's the Oakland A's. But with the Oakland A's, they do have a little bit to talk about. They just called up a top prospect this past week. Their number 6 prospect on Baseball America, Lawrence Butler. He was a 6th round pick back in 2018. Again, the number 6 prospect on Baseball America between AA and AAA this year, hitting .284 with a .350 on base, a .475 slugging, 15 homers, 70 RBIs, and 21 stolen bases. Hey, Lawrence Butler sounds like a pretty solid player down the road. The A's could use all the good players they can get. Coming in at number 29, we got the Colorado Rockies. With the Rockies, they're losing left and right, but Ezequiel Tovar in his last 7 games, he's hot. He's hitting .308 with a .345 on base, a .615 slugging, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. So at least they got someone playing all right. At number 28, we got the Kansas City Royals. Brady Singer pitched well against my Red Sox. Cole Reagans pitched well against my Red Sox. We ended up winning 3 out of 4 against the Royals, but seeing some good pitching from the Royals, that's a good sign for them, especially Cole Reagans. This is a guy they got in the Aroldis Chapman trade. Hey, if for the Royals, it's a terrible season, but if they can go in the next season with some good, solid, young pitching, I think that's a good sign for them down the road. But again, Singer, Cole Reagans, good starts from them this week. Actually, Cole Reagans, he struck out 11 over 6 2/3 innings. It ended up being a loss for the Royals in that game, so he got the no decision. But, hey, pretty nice to see if you're a Royals fan. Coming up next, we got the Chicago White Sox. Hey, they claimed Davy Garcia off of waivers. Remember how hot Davy Garcia was with the Yankees, back in the COVID season? Everyone was thinking, like, this is one of their next best pitchers. And then he just fell apart. Like, what the heck happened to Davy Garcia? The guy's curveball looked great. And I don't know what happened. Let's see if maybe he can figure something out with the Chicago White Sox. Yoan Moncada starting to show some signs over his last 7 games, hitting .280 with a .357 on base and a .520 slugging. Yoan Moncada, not a good season for him. So nice to see that he's working his way towards a strong finish, and maybe he can carry that into next season. On to the next team. We got the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not a whole lot with the Pirates. It did split with the Braves this past week. And I think the big story with the Pirates, Paul Skeens, the number 1 pick in the MLB draft, made his pro debut. Dude's just throwing bullets, 100 miles an hour, striking out 1 over an inning pitched. Hey, Paul Skeens, man. Paul Skeens. I'm pretty sure you're going to see him at some point next year. I don't see why he would be down in the minor leagues. I mean, that dude just looks ready to pitch in the majors right now. Coming up next at number 25, we got the Washington Nationals. Not much going on here. Just Kyber Ruiz. He's hot lately. Over his last 7 games, he's hitting .346 with a .452 on base, a .692 slugging, 3 homers over his last 7 games. But other than that, not much going on there. Up next, we got the Mets. You know, honestly, I'm not going to talk too much about the Mets, but we do have I guess we got a juicy story with the New York Mets. If we go back here a little bit to the trade deadline, the Mets actually explored Pete Alonso trades. They were looking for a lot for Pete Alonso, and Pete Alonso does have value. He still has control. You know, guys hitting a lot of dingers this year. He would be good for a lot of lineups out there. But it's kind of funny because on Twitter this past week, I forget the name, I apologize, but someone that doesn't seem to have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't seem to have a lot of approval from Mets fans out there. It seems like he's just a radio guy that just spews a lot of nonsense. I can't remember the name, but he tweeted out that pretty much Pete Alonso needed to go because he had actually found out that Pete Alonso was a cancer in the clubhouse. So a lot of Mets fans, Draftnik Mark, they kind of pushed back on that. So I'm not sure, you know, what to even think. I do find it interesting, even though, yeah, a lot of people maybe don't really believe what he was tweeting. Again, I can't remember the name. He's a radio guy. I'm going so blank on the name right now. But it is interesting that we are seeing a report like this, that they were exploring trades. Remember, you know, this isn't exactly news. This actually came up at the trade deadline. If you were with me for those 8 hours when we were live, my goodness, the best stream we have ever had on this channel, we actually started seeing some tweets that the Mets were listening on Pete Alonso. So it's not exactly like it's anything new, but they were looking for a lot. But I wonder if it does, maybe there is a little bit of truth to that tweet. Again, it doesn't seem like he has a lot of trust from the Mets fans out there regarding, you know, rumors about the team and so on. But it is interesting that he did tweet that, and then, you know, you're starting to see this story pop up again. So I don't know what to think. But when I think of Pete Alonso, he doesn't really, I don't know. I see a lot of different opinions. I see where Mets fans, some of them will say like, oh, you know, he meditates alone in the clubhouse. He seems to, he throws hissy fits a lot. Like, I think he actually got pretty upset about something today or yesterday in the dugout. I think he threw his helmet or something. I don't remember what he did. But there's a lot of Mets fans out there that seem to kind of, they don't really enjoy some of his antics. But then there's Mets fans that just love Pete Alonso to death. So I don't know. To me, I will not be surprised at all, especially with what the Mets are trying to do. You know, remember going back to The Athletic, there was a story, you know, they were talking with Max Scherzer saying maybe they're looking down the road, you know, in a couple of years. I still think they're going to try and be competitive for next year, but I think they're really looking in the next couple of years, really putting together some prospects down there. And I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Pete Alonso was traded this offseason. I would not be surprised at all. Whoa, we got a super chat here. Justice for Matt Gage. $14. You know why. I'm going blank, dude. Justice for Matt Gage. I have had quite the week. I am dead this week. I have been nonstop busy this week. I'm going so blank on the $14. I'm so sorry. What is Wander Franco? Well, what is the 14 again? I'm sorry, dude. My brain is broken right now. Wait, 14? Oh my God. I know oh my God. I'm thinking, is that his jersey number? I thought he wore number 5. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, okay. That is hilarious. Oh my. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. When I get to the Rays, I'll talk about that. But that whole situation is so weird to me. The whole thing. Like, not even just with Wander and obviously underage girl. Oh my gosh, it's so uncomfortable to just even talk about, especially me being a teacher. Like, it's just a little that doesn't sit right with me. But then there's like stuff with the mom and stuff, and I'm like, what is happening here? There's like a Corvette or something involved, like $200,000. I don't know what the heck is going on. This is a really weird situation, man. Really weird. But I've been seeing a lot of memes. They're pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. It is a little bit of a sensitive topic, but they're pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, the situation itself is not funny, but some of the memes I couldn't help but chuckle slightly at. Anyway, thank you for your super chat, my friend. I greatly appreciate you. Moving on. So let's wait and see. Off season. Pete Alonso. I do think there's a good chance he will get traded. Here we go. Moving on. Again, the Mets, they're getting pummeled this week. I don't know what else to say. Moving on. Number 23. Hey, the Tigers. I saw the Tigers this week. Hey, you know, Tigers, man, they've been playing all right. You know, like with Matt Manning, he outpitched Brian Bale on Saturday, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run for Matt Manning. Kerry Carpenter has been red hot in the last 7, hitting .417 with a .462 on base and .833 slugging. Had 2 home runs on Saturday against the Red Sox at Fenway. Also, Tigers fans, is there a Tigers fan here in the chat? When I saw a video of one of the Kerry Carpenter home runs, and it had to be one of the most boring home run calls I've ever heard in my entire life. It was so bad. It literally sounded like this. Kerry Carpenter. Oh, that's deep. And that is gone. Kerry Carpenter. Home run. I'm like, what the heck is this? Did this guy just wake up from a nap? Like, what is going on? Come on. I'm not going to say I'm an expert over here, but if there's a home run and it's like his second home run of the game, I'm going to be like, Kerry Carpenter, he goes deep. That is gone. Another home run for Kerry Carpenter. This guy is on fire. My goodness. Like, I'm just saying, come on. If you're a commentator, broadcaster, can we just up the effort a little bit? Come on, get into the game. I'm just saying. Maybe that's what they want him to do. I don't know. I saw a lot of Tigers fans getting onto the broadcast. Are they not a big fan of the broadcast? Tigers fans, let me know. That's just what I've read a little bit. But for the Tigers, not a bad week. They won 3 out of 4 against the Twins as well, right? So number 22, we got the Cardinals. Not really much here. Arenado, Contreras, Edman, they've been hitting well lately. Steven Matz in his last 3 starts, 3 earned runs over his last 18 innings. Not bad, but it's funny with the Cardinals. I do my power rankings every week. If you've listened to me before about how I set up my power rankings, I do have I do a spreadsheet on Excel. I do a bit of a weighted formula. The Cardinals are always near the top. When you weigh their offense, when you look at their starting pitching, their relief pitching, the strength of schedule, defense, the Cardinals are supposed to be better than this. It's really disappointing. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just always, it just hurts seeing the Cardinals this low. I don't know, man. Coming up next, we got the Guardians. Not too much here with the Guardians. Just a stagnant team lately. 4.5 games back of the Twins. I don't know if there's really going to be much left here with the Guardians. I really don't see if they're going to really get on track here. I really just don't know if they got the run in them. I feel like people have just been waiting for this run from the Guardians all year. It feels like they could go on one, and they just don't really seem to really want to get it together. 1 second, everyone. I forgot to share the stream on Twitterland, the most friendly place on earth. Let me just share this really quick so that way people can get on from Twitter. There we go. Okay, we are on Twitter. As for the Guardians players, Gavin Williams, man. Listen, when this guy got drafted a couple of years ago, I'm thinking, this guy's going to be good. This guy's got a good frame, good velocity, good stuff. I mean, man, Gavin Williams, he's been great lately. Over his last 3 starts, 17 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 28 strikeouts. He has back-to-back starts with at least double-digit strikeouts. Gavin Williams, man. Gavin Williams. Justice for Matt Gage once again. Even worse, today was his... Oh, no. Oh, man. I really hope with Franco, man. Dude, I hope the whole thing... I really do hope, like, none of it's real. Like, I really hope it's just a bunch of nonsense. I know there's pictures. I don't know. I'm just, like, I don't want to see this stuff. Oh, man. It's awful. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm one of those people, you got to wait till more details come out. I know it doesn't look very good. But you got to wait for the more details. You know, I'm just saying. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Number 20. Oh, moving on here. Okay, so there we go. There is our bottom third of the power rankings. Let's move on here to number 20. What the heck happened here? What happened? This Diamondbacks team, I know they're still 3 out. They could still get this together. They could go on a run here. They're 3 games back in the wild card, but they're 1-9 in the last 10. You know what? They got it together this weekend a little bit. But this past week, they lost both to the Dodgers in their series with the Padres. Actually, really quick, I didn't actually see, because I was getting ready for the show. I actually am going blank. What was the final score today for the Diamondbacks? Really quick. But anyway, before I'm pulling this up, this Diamondbacks team, man, this offense has been pretty bad over the last 2 weeks. They are 29th in WRC+. A little better over the last week. They were 17th. They've had Christian Walker and Tommy Pham really step up for them. So the offense is getting a little better. Okay, so the final score today was 5-4. I did not catch that because I was getting ready for the stream. So they did get it together this weekend. They won 2 out of 3 against the Padres. So let's see. And then they got the Rockies on the road. They'll have the Padres again next weekend for 4. So maybe this is the week the Diamondbacks can get themselves back on track, but the numbers are not looking great. The offense is a little better lately. It doesn't look amazing, though. Remember, this was a top 10 offense at one point. Over the last 7 games, the starting pitching has ranked 6th in FIP, but the bullpen only ranks 21st. So they got to get it together in the bullpen. You know, they had Davies and Henry out with injuries, but Zach Gallen over his last 3 starts, he's been pretty solid. 18 innings over his last 3. 5 earned combined, 22 strikeouts. And actually, yesterday against the Padres, 6 innings, no runs allowed, 8 strikeouts. So a really good start for Zach Gallen there. Paul Sewald got his first save as a Diamondback. And he got his first save in the retro purple Diamondbacks jerseys. Can we bring them back? Is there any way, listen, if there's anyone on the Diamondbacks for some odd reason watching this right now, if there is someone that has the connections to the jerseys and the decisions behind those, can you please bring those jerseys back? Those are so good. Those are so good. When you see them wear those jerseys, I don't know, maybe it's me. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I will speak for everyone. I think everyone likes the old jerseys better. I'm just saying. I really think that. They're so good. They're the purple. You got the green. It just looks great. It looks great. Please bring them back. Carson Kelly, DFA'd. And actually, funny thing about that was he was the last piece in the Paul Goldschmidt trade. So the Diamondbacks no longer have any more pieces from that trade. But let's see if the Diamondbacks can get this together. Let's move on. Oh my goodness. the meltdown of all meltdowns. You also, you know what I just noticed here? I just noticed I don't have the date right. It is not August 6th. It is August 13th. Oh my goodness. There's my potato brain kicking in once again. This potato brain really gets the best of me sometimes. There we go. The date is fixed. The date is fixed. At number 19, the Yankees. Losing 2 out of 3 to the Marlins and 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. The most notable loss this week was the walk-off loss today to the Marlins. Jake Berger coming through, a big comeback. Wow. I mean, to me, I'm giving the credit to the Marlins, but oh my. I mean, Clay Holmes, man, this guy is always nails, right? And he just could not hold it today. Props to the Marlins for digging deep and coming back like that, but wow. The Yankees, I think they're done. I don't think they have it. I think the Yankees, they really need to do something this offseason. And no, I don't mean add players. I don't mean make trades. I don't mean go after prospects or sell. Listen, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but the Yankees are always like 2 to 3 years late on everything. I do think, and it's not going to happen. I will be shocked if it happens. It won't. They need a new direction. I think the Yankees have just been this stagnant team. They're always good, but this is where I think the Yankees, they're not going to make any changes because for the most part, they are always pretty competitive, right? Except for this year, right? But they're still in it. It's not like they're completely dead. In my opinion, they are. They're 5 out now. But I do really think they need to make a change. I think Brian Cashman, I just think, man, he's been there since 1998. You got to do something here. Like, it's not working. You need something different. You need a new voice in the clubhouse. It just feels tiring at this point. Because, the Yankees, they made it to the ALCS last year, but then they just got completely ran over by the Astros. They do make moves. I will give Brian Cashman credit. He always makes the moves. He's going to go out there. He's going to make the free agent signings, but it just never feels like it's the right move. It always feels like the guy that you bring in that is supposed to be good, he doesn't live up to his potential. Joey Gallo, a big one. Carlos Rodon with all the injuries. I mean, Stanton, he brought him in, and, he's definitely had some good seasons. But when you traded for Stanton, that was supposed to be like this transcendent bat for you, but he was having a lot of injuries, and just he's not hitting the way you thought he was going to be, especially with how he was with the Marlins. You stuck with Gleyber Torres at shortstop for the longest time, and he was clear as night and day. He shouldn't have been there. I don't know, man. Like, I was so happy when they actually went with Volpe. They did something different for once. I just think they need a change. They need a new direction. And I think Brian Cashman, I think he has done obviously an amazing job over the years. Been there since 98. Sure, lately, recency bias, Yankee fans won't be happy with Cashman. But I think when you look at the big picture, when you look at everything that he's done, Brian Cashman has been wildly successful. I just think it's time. I don't think they're going to do it. I'll believe it when I see it, but I think they need to do something different. That's pretty much it with the Yankees. With the offense, it's been stagnant this year. Judge, Torres, Bader, they've been hitting well. Cole and Schmidt have been pitching pretty well. Holmes was pitching well in the bullpen as of late until, obviously the bullpen completely melted down today. I don't know what else to say about the Yankees. You all know me. I've always given a lot of respect to the Yankees. I'm not, I'm a big Red Sox fan, but I always have respected the Yankees. So it's kind of just tough to see, and it just feels like they're not really getting any better. It just seems like, at least, say what you will about the Red Sox, but at least it feels like they're making steps forward, right? Where the Yankees, it feels like they're just stuck, or they're even taking steps back. So, moving on. Speaking of taking steps back, how about the Angels? They got pummeled by the Astros in the first 2 games of the series this weekend. They got outscored 22-6. They did win the 3rd game. They did win 2 out of 3 against the Giants, so not a terrible week for the Angels. You know, they did get absolutely annihilated the first 2 games against the Astros. Ohtani, he's got a dead arm lately, but he had been pitching well before that. No earned runs in his last 3 starts. He is a little cold at the plate as of late, but he homered for the 41st time this year. Speaking of pitching, though, Chase Silseth, he's been pitching pretty well. 5 innings, 0 earned runs today. In his last start, 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, 12 strikeouts against the Mariners. So Silseth really coming through. In his last 3 starts overall, 17 and 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs, and 26 Ks. So Chase Silseth really stepping it up. But for the Angels as a whole, not really too much here. I mean, if we're looking at the standings overall, the Angels, as of right now, they're still 6.5 out. I just don't think there's really anything here. Could they turn this around? There's always the possibility, but I don't think so. Coming in next, we got the Padres. This is another team. It's another one of these teams where, you know, good team, good players. They should be better than this, but they're 5.5 out. Listen, they have the run differential to prove that they are a better team than what they are. Run differential is just one thing. You know, when you look at the overall stats, though, they have a good offense. They have good offensive players, but they aren't hitting with runners in scoring position. The starting pitching has been great this year. The bullpen, not so much. I think there's too many little inconsistencies with the Padres this year, and I just think the team itself, it's not the right blend. I think, you know, they're just too inconsistent. I just don't think they're going to have it. I thought, like, there could be a run here. It just doesn't seem... I do think being behind the Dodgers and the Giants is not helping them at all. You know, Diamondbacks have been good this year, too, up to this point. So, you know, the Padres, it is what it is. Over the last 7 games, they only ranked 24th in WRC+. Bogarts and Cronenworth have been okay, but other than that, the rest of the offense is slumping. The starting pitching lately has been slumping a little bit. I will step back a little. The starting pitching has been good overall lately, or not lately, sorry, over the whole season, but lately not so good. They gave up 34 runs in a 4-game series to the Dodgers this past week. So not good pitching from the Padres. It is what it is. Coming in next, we have the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds, they've cooled off. They got red hot, they got ice cold, and they got hot again, and now they're kind of just, you know, sort of in limbo, it seems. They're still right there, half a game back in the wild card race. Actually, let me double check that because I made that note. No, they're a game back in the wild card race. So they're still there. You know, the Reds are definitely not done. It does feel like, though, the Reds feel like the Orioles from last year. This is what they're starting to look like. Remember the Orioles? They got hot there last year at one point. They were making a run. That's what the Reds feel like right now. Very similar. Young team, good players, not quite there. So this means that the Reds are just going to win the division next year. What's going on here? Francisco, Robbie acting like he doesn't see everyone in the chat, telling him he's wrong about the Padres. I mean, sure. I mean, I get. How am I wrong? I mean, what am I wrong about? I don't know what I'm wrong about. I mean, I'm looking at the standings. They're 5.5 out. I don't know. Am I wrong about them being a good team? I do think they are a good team. I don't know. I think they're a pretty good team, but they're just not putting the wins together. So, I see what you're saying. I'll reiterate what I'm saying. Not a good team. They have good players. They should be a good team. But they're not acting like a good team. Does that make sense? Good players should be good, but they're not. So yeah, I agree. They're not a good team, right? But they should be a good team. That's what I'm trying to say. Where was I? The Reds. Not a great week overall. For the Reds, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Marlins, but they did win 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. 11th in starting pitching over the last 7 when it comes to FIP. Abbott, Ashcraft, Williamson, they've been pretty solid lately. Offense, though, only 20th in WRC plus in the last 7 games. Friedel and Votto have been hitting well lately, but overall, the Reds a bit of an up and down team lately. See a super chat coming in. Dolphin MJF, thoughts on the Wander Franco situation. I'm going to talk about that when I get to the Rays. I'm honestly not even going to talk too much about it. I'll give like a couple of quick thoughts. To me, it's one of those situations I don't really want to give an opinion on it because I need to see more details. I need to see more, right? Obviously, it doesn't look great, but I'm one of those people, I like to let things sort of breathe. I think that's the responsible thing to do. I don't like to jump to conclusions until I've really seen everything, right? So that's what I'll say about that right now, but I'll touch on it in just a little bit. At number 15, we have the Marlins. We got the Marlins. They move up a couple of spots from last week, winning their series over the Yankees this weekend. Just talked about the walk-off. Jake Berger coming through. What a great pickup for them that has been. Man, really coming through. Speaking of good pickups, Josh Bell. Josh Bell has been a great pickup for the Marlins since arriving over 11 games coming into today, hitting .308 with a .372 on base, a .667 slugging, 4 homers. Josh Bell has been really good. He had one game where he had 2 homers, so what a good pickup that's been for the Marlins. A low-key pickup, and he's been good. Sandy Alcantara, a complete game against the Yankees this weekend. 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, 10 Ks. Alcantara's been really good over his last 3 starts. Man, what did I say? Listen, I don't like to be the one that says I told you so, but everyone was like coming after Sandy Alcantara in the beginning of the year. Everyone would always say on Twitter land, the most friendly place on earth, and everywhere you went, Reddit, Twitter, even here on the channel, in my comments, oh, Sandy Alcantara has an ERA over 5. Okay, well, did you look at the FIP? The FIP was in the mid-3s. And now Sandy Alcantara, here you go. He's putting it together the last 3 starts. 23 innings, only 5 earned runs, 22 Ks. This is why you got to look at FIP. You have to look at FIP. ERA is fine, but FIP is better. It tells more of the story. I'm sorry, but it's like, it's like no one wants to listen. No one wants to listen. I'm sorry. Maury's Life. I think Maury's Life. Did you have a super chat earlier? I'm so sorry. I saw this earlier. $1.99. Hope you put the Giants at 30. No, the Giants are not at 30. The Giants are not at 30. Maury's Life, $1.99. I really hope you put the Giants at 30. I've already got past 30. I'm not doing it. Nope. I will not do the Giants at 30. I will not do it. Maury's Life, thank you for the couple of super chats. I appreciate you. But for the Marlins, they're still right there in the wild card race. Now, actually, since they won, let me just double check. Oh, the Marlins are now tied for the 3rd wild card spot. So remember, they got really cold there at one point, and everyone was wondering, oh, is this it for the Marlins? Here we go. The Marlins are right there. They're right there. But overall, the offense needs to pick it up. They need to pick it up. They're 25th in WRC plus as a whole coming into today. They had a big outburst there in the end. So let's see if that can keep going here. But lately, as a whole, not great offense. As a whole, with starting pitching over the last week, they had a 5.23 FIP over the last 7. They're only ranked 23rd in the majors. So not great offense, not great pitching lately, but they're putting the wins together. So let's see if the Marlins can keep this up. Maury's Life with another super chat. Farhan is the worst GM ever. Hey, the Giants are right there. I mean, the Giants have a wild card spot. They got a wild card spot. What's everyone? No, don't be sad. They're fine. At least right now they're fine. Here we go. Everyone has been waiting for this ever since last week. I went on a rant that I think lasted about 2 hours. My Red Sox at number 14. Because I went on like a 3-hour rant last week, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to say this one in less than 20 seconds. On 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 games back in the wild card. They won 3 out of 4 against the Royals, 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. Chris Sale pitched great in his return. Tristan Cassis, Trevor Story swinging hot bats lately. Tristan Cassis 2 homers in his last 7 games. Trevor Story 4 for 4 in his 4 for 4 today, and he's hitting pretty well lately since coming back. And we are moving on to the Twins at number 13. Losing 3 out of 4 to the Tigers, not good. Losing 3 out of 4 to the Tigers. They won 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, though. So they did bounce back there. Over the last 7. Second in starting pitching FIP. Sonny Gray pitched really well today. Pablo Lopez has been really good. Pablo Lopez in his last 3 starts, 19 innings, 1 earned run. You know who we have not heard of lately? What happened to Luis Arise? This guy's name has just been completely non-existent. I gotta check. I haven't looked at his numbers for a little bit. Yeah, his batting average down to a measly 365. Oh my goodness. But Pablo Lopez really picking it up. He's been awesome. I love me some Pablo Lopez, man. Really do. But overall, the bullpen though, 29th in FIP over the last 7 games. That didn't include today, though, so that was coming into today. A 6.71 ER or 6.71 FIP and 8.46 ERA. So Twins bullpen, they've really got to step this up. The offense has been improving. Carlos Correa, he's heating up over his last 7 games, hitting .391 with a .481 on base and .870 slugging, 3 homers, 8 RBIs. Joey Gallo over his last 7 games. Speaking of Joey Gallo, Yankee legend, hitting .313, 500 on base, .875 slugging, 3 homers, 6 RBIs over his last 7. And for off the field, Joe Mauer inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame. Good old Joe Mauer, man. Love me some Joe Mauer. So, Maury's life, Patrick Bailey is the best catcher ever. Patrick Bailey has been hitting pretty well. Speaking of the Giants, they come in at number 12. They do fall out of my top 10. I won't put them at 30, Maury's life. I will not put them at 30, but I did take them out of the top 10. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels this week. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Rangers this past weekend. They salvaged the series today. But overall, not a great week for the Giants. They are still hanging on to the second wild card spot. In their last 7 games, though, the offense has been slumping, 26 in WRC plus over the last 7. Patrick Bailey, like we just mentioned, he's hitting pretty well. Wilmer Flores hitting well as well. But overall, the offense needs to pick it up. The starting pitching has been pretty middle of the road, 17th overall over the last week in starting pitching FIP. Logan Webb, Ross Stripling have been pitching pretty well, but that starting pitching staff is so thin right now. They need some help, man. But the Giants, they're still there. They just got to win a few games here. Coming in at number 11. Cubs fans, where are you at? Where are we at? Everyone was coming after me last week. Where are you? I thought the Cubs were going to be in first place. I thought the Cubs were going to be running away with the division. And I had everyone coming after me last week in the power rankings. What? The disrespect to the Cubs. I think I had them at 12. And people are like, just coming after me. You know, I had how many super chats? I forget the name. I'm sorry, I'm going blank on the name. I had how many super chats from the one guy saying, oh man, Robbie, when the Cubs are in first place, you got to tweet out that you were wrong. Well, I thought they were going to be in first. They're 3.5 out. What happened? Listen. You got listen. This is why I take things with a more conservative approach, right? A team is hot. I like to see a little bit more. I call it the prove me phase, or the prove it to me phase, right? You got that hot streak and you really moved up in the rankings. I'm not going to go from, let's say a team is in number 18 and they win like 10 in a row, I'm not going to put them in the top 10 just like that. I need to see it over a couple of weeks. I need to see it over a few weeks even. And I challenge the Cubs. Hey, if the Cubs are for real, and if they're going to be in first place like you say they are, well, then they'll do it. And guess what happened? They didn't do it. So what the heck is going on? I'm just saying. They are playing well lately, though. I'm not going to get onto them. They are playing pretty good baseball. Danny Mac Jr., 88. Robbie was waiting for this spot today so bad. I was waiting for this. I was like so excited when I was doing my notes on the Cubs. I was like, oh, I can't wait. I had this planned out in my head all week. Oh, man, you couldn't have said it any better. But they are playing well. 7-3 in their last 10. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets, so they kind of stumbled there. But they won 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays. So hanging on to the third wild, or actually, hold on, let me just double check because I got done. They're half a game back now in the wild card. Half a game back now in the wild card because the Marlins got that win. So now the Cubs are on the outside looking in. Cubs fans. Hey, Mac, you say here, stop talking about the fans and talk about the team. Mac, listen, man. You know, I talk about it all. I talk about the fans. I talk about the team. If you don't like it, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't eat my shorts. I don't know what to tell you. But they're hanging on to they were hanging on to the third wild card spot. They've now fallen out. The offense has been pretty decent overall. Starting pitching, relief pitching, overall over the last 7, pretty decent. Cody Bellinger, though, he's red hot. My goodness, 435 over his last 7 with a 4. He's hitting 435, with a 480 on base, a 783 slugging, 2 homers, 7 RBIs. Cody Bellinger, man. Cody Bellinger, he's going to get himself a fat contract this offseason. I hope he stays with the Cubs. Dude, stay with the Cubs, man. You got a good thing going there. But I do have the Cubs knocking on the door for the top 10. So let's see if they can get in the top 10. Let's get on to the top 10, everyone. Real quick, the like goal for tonight is 100. The like goal is 100. We're at 81. Can you help us get to 100 likes? Don't forget, if you can, subscribe if you are new. We're trying to get to 40K subscribers. Hit the bell notification. That way you know I go live every single time. And share the stream if you can. Let's get to the top 10. Here we go. We got a bit of a change here. We got a bit of a change in the top 10. Staying with the Brewers at number 10 here. Listen, I'm going to reiterate this about the Brewers. Statistically, I'm not a fan of the Brewers. I said this last week. I honestly do think the Cubs have the better squad overall. I do think that. However, wins at the end of the day are wins. I can look at my numbers all I want. I can sit there and say, oh, they only ranked 24th in WRC+. They only ranked 22nd in FIP. Blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, wins are wins and wins are wins. And the Brewers are winning games. They don't rank very well when it comes to pretty much every category except defense. They're a very good defensive team. They are the best defensive team in Major League Baseball this year. So the Brewers, what I like about the Brewers is that they're a good fundamental team. That's what I like about the Brewers, right? I know I've gotten onto them about the offense. The starting pitching is inconsistent. The bullpen is a little thin. But they get the wins when they need to. They got a good coaching staff. They play great defense. They play good fundamental ball, right? I like that about the Brewers. They just win the games, right? The Cubs, I personally think, are more talented than the Brewers. But talent, at the end of the day, is not going to be the end-all, be-all, right? I do think eventually the Cubs, they could surpass the Brewers. It's not impossible, but the Brewers are winning games. And they're doing it without the best numbers overall. they're just getting the job done, and that's what I respect about the Brewers. Over the last 7, they're 16th in WRC+. William Contreras, Sal Frelick, Monasterio, they are hitting very well lately. Overall, in the last 7 games, when it comes to the starting pitching, they're averaging a 4.41 ERA, but a 3.86 FIP. So the pitching is doing pretty well overall. Freddie Peralta, in his last 3 starts, 18 innings, 4 earned runs, 25 Ks. So Peralta has been pitching well. He struck out 13 Rockies last Monday. So Freddie Peralta, he's really, really stepping up. The bullpen is top 10 in the last 7. So they're just playing good baseball right now. They're getting the job done. At the end of the day, they're in first place. So I do think, again, the Cubs are more talented. But wins are wins. And the Brewers are in first place. At number 9, I got the Blue Jays. They drop a couple of spots here from last week. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Cubs. They split with the Guardians this week. Over the last 7, again, it's like this offense is so weird because they should be so much better than what they are. They're so up and down. One week they got a top 10 offense. Next week the offense is stagnant. 18th in the last 7. Whit Merrifield, George Springer, they have been hitting well. Varsho had a 3-run home run today. That's a nice sign. Varsho has been having a pretty down offensive season. Bullpen over the last 7, 6 overall in FIP. So the bullpen's been stepping up. But the Blue Jays, they're just, I don't know. They're just inconsistent. Like, they just can't seem, they go on these runs and then they just really, I don't know, they just fall back a little bit. So let's see what they can do. But the Blue Jays, I mean, they're in good shape as of right now. They have the 3rd wild card spot as of right now. But you do got Seattle creeping in. You got the Red Sox 3 out. Right? But the Blue Jays, this team worries me. This team worries me just a little bit. I don't know. They just give me this weird feeling. I can't really seem to figure it out with this Blue Jays team. They don't inspire me. And I'm wondering if they're starting to creep back a little bit. I can't even really explain it. I know what a lot of you are thinking. I know what a lot of you are thinking here. And I already know I'm going to hear it. I'm going to see, the double standard. You know, well, how do you say this for them but not this for them? I'm going to be honest with you. I already see it coming. I already know what's going to happen because I'm saying the same thing about kind of like the Cubs and the Brewers. But when it comes to the Mariners, here's my rationalization about the Mariners. I have been a fan of the Mariners pretty much all year. I have liked their starting pitching all year. So good. So good with the starting pitching. Bullpen has been so good. No Paul Sewald anymore, but still a good bullpen. The only thing I've been saying about the Mariners is the offense has been middle of the road. They can't seem to get it going, right? They just can't seem to get it going. And the Mariners, they are finally getting that offense together. And that's all I've been waiting for. I think this is a Mariners team that is really good. I've been thinking about this Mariners team since coming into the year. I remember coming into the year, right? You're looking at the rotation. You got Luis Castillo. You got George Kirby. You got Logan Gilbert. You got even more starting pitching with Bryce Miller. You had Brian Wu come up. Now you just had Emerson Hancock come up and look pretty good in his debut. They got starting pitching for days. And those 3 starting pitchers in the playoffs, I'm sorry, that's scary. That is very scary to me. I don't know, man. This Mariners team, I think they're getting hot at the right time. And yes, Tim Pennell, I know the Mariners did lose their series to the Orioles this weekend, but they had the clutch home run there near the end. It looked like the Mariners, they had some magic going. The Orioles, good team this year. I'm not too down on the Mariners losing 2 out of 3 to the Orioles. I'm not too bad on it, or I'm not too down on it, sorry. I just really like this Mariners team. I like the Mariners more than I like the Cubs, right? I think the Mariners, to me right now, even though the Blue Jays are slightly ahead of them, I just think the Mariners, they're just really good. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I can already see the double standard coming. I can already see it. I hope I'm explaining the difference well. The Cubs, to me, they're not as good as the Mariners to me. The Mariners, all they needed was that offense to click. And to me, the Mariners, I think, could be a very dangerous team in the playoffs. I think if you have the Mariners and the Cubs in the playoffs, I am more, right now, at this point, the Mariners, to me, would be more dangerous in the playoffs than the Cubs would be. Right? I hope that, I already know I'm going to get comments about it. I already know it. Those Cubs fans, they're going to come after me. I think the Mariners right now, I like them better than the Blue Jays, despite being behind the Blue Jays in the standings. I think the Mariners are about to go crazy, right? Because this offense, listen to the numbers. Listen to the numbers. Since July 1st, the Mariners are 25-11. 25-11 since July 1st. The key has been the offense, like I said. Since July 1st, they rank 5th in WRC+. They have a top 5 offense since then. Julio Rodriguez in the last 30 games, he has finally gotten it together. Slow start this year, hitting .278 over his last 30 games with a .350 on base, a .509 slugging, 6 homers, 17 RBIs. Julio Rodriguez, he is the straw that stirs the drink. When this guy's got it going on, everyone seems to get it together, right? J.P. Crawford over his last 30 games. J.P. Crawford, I feel like, has been the unsung hero for the Mariners. Over the last 30, he's hitting .307 with a .431 on base and a .466 slugging. J.P. Crawford has been great. I'm just saying, man. Those guys have been great. You've had other guys stepping up too. Ty France. You even had Suarez, driving in runs lately. The offense is clicking for the Mariners. And I think with that pitching staff, both in the rotation and the bullpen, and then you got this offense clicking, I'm just saying, man, don't mess around with this Mariners team. Don't mess around with this Mariners team. But like I said, starting pitching has been amazing over the last 7 games. They have a 1.64 FIP. George Kirby, 9 innings, shutout innings in the loss on Felix Hernandez night. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame. What's all these players getting inducted into the Hall of Fame? You had Joe Mauer for the Twins. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention with the Blue Jays, Jose Bautista got put up onto the level of excellence. Now you had Felix Hernandez this past weekend. I'm just saying, man, what's up with all these guys getting inducted, man? You got to love it. Logan Gilbert had 7 shutout innings against the Padres with 12 Ks. Bryce Miller, Castillo, they were solid in this past week. Hancock against the Padres, 5 innings and 2 hits, no earned runs in his debut. The Mariners are dangerous, everyone. The Mariners are dangerous. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I might be. I just like the Mariners. This could come back to bite me in the butt next week. We'll see. Lord Volpez, how you doing? $5 super chat. Hot take. Mariners end up with the final wild card due to the Rays collapsing. Rays' number of injured pitchers exceeds the age of... No! Oh, no. No, not the average age. No. Goodness gracious. Oh, man. But the Mariners, I do like them. Coming in at number 7, I got the Phillies. 3 out of 4 against the Nationals, but they lost 2 out of 3 against the Twins. So, up and down week for the Phillies, but they lead the first wild card by 3.5 games. 3rd in WRC plus over the last 7. Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, they've been hot. That offense is coming to life. That's been a pretty middle-of-the-road offense, similar to the Mariners. Honestly, the Phillies and the Mariners are very similar teams. I wonder, could you maybe see the Mariners and the Phillies in the World Series? What an amazing World Series that would be. Wow. Can you think about that? With that pitching, you got Zach Wheeler, Luis Castillo going head-to-head. You would have, well, I know Aaron Nola's not really having a great year this year, but still, it's Aaron Nola. I think that guy will get it together by the playoffs. You could have Aaron Nola against George Kirby. I mean, come on, you got Michael Lorenzen, who threw a no-hitter this past week. I mean, my goodness, what the heck? Good grief. Pickup of the deadline right there. Man, what's up with all these trade deadline guys, man? You know, Jake Berger getting the walk-off hit today. Michael Lorenzen with the no-hitter. I mean, cool, man. Gotta love it. These trade deadline guys are really stepping up for their teams. Gotta love it. But, man, if you could have the Phillies and the Mariners in the World Series, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. 25th in starting pitching FIP over the last 7, though, with a 5.53, 6 in ERA, a 3.09, though. So ERA is looking better than the FIP. That worries me a little bit, but let's see if the Phillies can get it together. The bullpen has been pretty middle of the road. They're 18th in FIP over the last 7. Overall, the Phillies, not really anything crazy this week. Up and down week, so they stay at number 7 for me. At number 6, we got the Astros. 2 out of 3 against the Angels. Winning 2 out of 3 against the Orioles. Second in WRC Plus over the last 7 games. Kyle Tucker, man, this guy continues to prove that he is one of the most underappreciated bats in the game. A clutch grand slam to win against the Orioles this past week on the road against their closer, Batista. Man, Kyle Tucker. Altuve, everyone loves Jose Altuve. Over his last 7 games, he's hitting .500, a .600 on base, and a .714 slugging. Starting pitching, 21st in FIP over the last 7 games, but the bullpen over the last 7 has a 0.96 ERA. The Astros, yeah, I see you. Lock smart. Houston pitching not awesome like last year. It is definitely different. But I think, with what they have there, Verlander back, Valdez, Javier, Hunter Brown now too. Urquidy pitched pretty well today. I think Houston is going to be fine with their starting pitching. So we'll have to see how it goes in the playoffs, though. Up next, everyone's been waiting for it. The Tampa Bay Rays. Oh, super chat coming in. Sermon King. Don't forget about Fernando Valenzuela, too. Oh, did they do him, too? I missed that. Yeah, man. Big weekend for guys, going into their Hall of Fames, getting, recognized. I love that, man. I love that. Everyone wants to know about the Wander Franco thing. Everyone wants to know. I'm not going to take too long on this, but let me just get to the Rays real quick. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals. They won 2 out of 3 against the Guardians. They still lead the wild card race by 6 games. They're 2 games back in the East. 4th in WRC Plus over the last 7. So the Rays are hitting pretty well. Wander Franco is hitting well lately. I know everyone wants to talk about Wander Franco, but he is hitting pretty well lately. Yandy Diaz has been hot. Arozarena, Josh Lowe, they are hitting well. The pitching has been good lately. Shane McClanahan, that's a big loss, but the starting pitching has been stepping up. 3rd in starting pitching FIP over the last 7. Zach Eflin, Tyler Glasnow are pitching great. The bullpen, their relievers are 4-1 over the last week, despite a 6.83 ERA and a 4.99 FIP. So the Rays, it's kind of, I'm not sure what to think of this Rays team. And listen, didn't I say this in the beginning of the year? Everyone was like all over the Rays when they started off like 13-0. Remember when I went over a couple of teams? You had the Braves from, I forget, was it the 80s? Or the 70s, I can't remember. The Brewers, I believe, from the 80s got off to those hot starts. And they ended up not really doing much, right? So, it's... Oh, sorry, Ian Long. Is it 3 games? I'm sorry, 3 games back in the East. I apologize. I got that right. Thank you, Ian Long. But remember I said that in the beginning of the year with the Rays? I'm like, listen, it's a long season. I know the Rays look really good right now. You can't beat them. But you got 162 games. So... I'm just saying, man. But the Rays, they're still, in my opinion, a good team. A very good team, right? I wouldn't want to play the Rays in the playoffs. I'm just saying. But let's talk about the Wander Franco thing. Not long, because I'm not going to get too detailed about it. because I am waiting to see more details about this. It's not a great looking situation. And the media right now, I believe, the media, they always, the media is something else sometimes, man. Jimmy Productions, $4.99. Robbie, what do you mean not much from the Nationals? They swept the A's this weekend and the Reds last weekend. We're only a game behind the Mets. Yeah, the Nationals are playing well. Yeah, I guess you're right. And they did do a little something. But, for the Nationals, to me, it's... When I say not too much, I just mean, yeah, sure, they're winning games, but this is nothing really of significance to talk about with the Nationals. They are playing well lately, so I'll give them that. Thank you, Jimmy, for the $4.99 super chat. But Wander Franco, man, it's not a great-looking situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the media right now, the media is always very interesting with how they do things, but I think they're going about this the right way, where they're waiting for more details to come out. They're not even talking about, like, if you read this article right here and if you go to other news outlets, they're not even talking about what is actually being talked about. So basically what is going on here is that Franco, there seems to be something with a girl that's underage, or there's a lot of weird details about it. There's the mom was involved with something, and there was financial things going on there. There's a lot going on with this. It looks like a pretty messy situation. Not really, there's not, and to me, there's not enough details to really make a judgment. I know people are going to have their fun with it. They're going to make their memes. They're going to do, you can't really, sure, you can make your jokes, you can make all the memes, but I just don't really think there's enough right now. I want to hear more sources. Like, I want to hear more. I know there's pictures. They don't look good. But I want to hear more details about this. There was supposedly, the mom told him that she was underage, or that she wasn't underage, but that's obviously still on him for not verifying that, and it's just like, it's just a mess. And then I don't know what is happening. It's a mess. Like I said, I don't really want to get too deep into it because there's just not enough out there to really, in my opinion. There's pictures, sure, but you gotta wait for everything to come out. Like, it's too premature, I think, to really talk about. Sure, people can have their fun with it, but to me, I'm one of those people. I like to wait, right? So if you go to my Twitter, I did post today, which I thought was appropriate to post, just because I like to, because to me, I thought that this was a comment that was under, I believe, either the mom or the girl or someone related to them posted something, and this was a comment that was underneath. And this was a really bad translation on Google Translate. People were like coming at me, or not coming at me, but saying in the comments like, gosh, this translation is terrible. Don't look at me. I just copy pasted it in the Google Translate. But pretty much what it's saying here, if I were to just give you a quick run through, now it is made public because he did not want to give her the $200,000 and the Mercedes that she wanted, because she does not upload the messages that she herself tells him that she is going to screw up his career, even if he does not give her that or marries her. This is a whole bunch of stuff, like something about the Mercedes. And either way, this does not look good, like all the way around, based off of what we have. But you need to wait for everything to come out. You have to wait for everything to come out. I just think that's the responsible thing to do. Justin Goins, man. No, don't do the K. Okay. Anyway, let's see. I'm sure we're going to hear more about this in the next week. He was benched today. Everyone knows why he was benched. Everyone knows why he didn't play, obviously, but they didn't get into details why. So, Jimmy Productions, will Franco be playing when I go to the game tomorrow? That's a really good question, man. That's a really good question. I don't know. Jimmy Productions, Robbie, do you know the song Rappin' for Jesus? I do not. I do not know that song. I do not. But that's all I have on this matter. That's all I have. I know I kind of really just gave you a pretty big empty pie right there. There's details out there. If you want to go read this a little bit more, I want to move on with the power rankings. It's on my Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter if you want to. But I got this here if you want to read more into it. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff. There's pictures on there. So, but I think we should all wait until everything comes out. Moving on here. Moving out. Or not moving out. Goodness. I don't want to move out. Moving on. Here we go. Number 4. Got the Rangers. They're playing some pretty good baseball lately. They are 9-1 in their last 10. They lost today. But overall, lately playing great baseball. They lead. Now, hold on. Let me see real quick. Let me just go back to the standings because I guess got to make sure. They lead the West now by, let me just make sure. I believe it's 2.5 games. 2.5 games up on the Astros. So they're still hanging on to the division lead. Offense has been good lately. 12th in WRC plus over the last 7. Corey Seager, Garver, Duran, they're hitting well. Starting pitching has been good. 5th in starting pitching FIP over the last 7. The pitching has stabilized with Max Scherzer and Montgomery. Those guys have been great. Those guys have been great. Scherzer, in his first 2 starts of the Rangers, 13 innings, 4 earned. Montgomery, 12 innings, 4 earned. Very good pickups for them. Again, the trade deadline, it's looking really productive for the guys that were buying, for the teams that were buying. So, hey, the Rangers pitching staff looking pretty good. Andrew Heaney, he did leave his start early this weekend because he was coming off of an illness, so people were wondering why did he only throw like 2 innings. Yeah, he was coming off of an illness, so they wanted to be careful with that. Bullpen has been good lately, a 1.35 ERA over the last 7. So, real quick, Jimmy Productions, did you see my Rangers super chat? Oh, I didn't see this one. Jimmy, I'm sorry. Rangers will make it to the World Series. Honestly, the Rangers are one of those teams where they got good pitching matchups. If Scherzer gets himself together, they got good pitching matchups. You got Scherzer. You got Montgomery. Evaldi will be back. They could match up pretty well with pretty much any team in the American League. They got those good matchups, I think. So, I'm just saying, I really do think the Rangers could make it. I think they could definitely at least make it to the championship series. I don't see why not. Danny Mac Jr., Astros versus the Rangers in the ALCS would be legit, especially a Scherzer versus Verlander matchup. Georgia Bulldogs rule. What is your World Series prediction? Dude, I'm bad at predictions. I don't know if right now, if you're to, if you're to get a prediction out of me right now, oh, man. I'm high. You all know I'm high on the Mariners right now. I think the Phillies are going to be dangerous. I think the Phillies could easily make it back. They've been playing well. If you go back over the last month or so, the Phillies have been playing good baseball. I really do think the Phillies could make it back. The Rays, I'm not going to count them out. I know things are not looking good in Rays land right now, but I think the Rays, you got Glasnow, you got Eflin. I think that could be pretty decent, and that offense is going to be tough. Right now, if you're to ask me, man, I don't know. I would say, I'll give you this. I do think the American League team will come out of the West. I think they'll come out of the West. I think the Orioles are going to be tough, but I feel like they're not going to be quite there. And the Braves are going to be so hard to pick against. They're going to be so hard to pick against. The Braves. I think the Dodgers, I think people are sleeping on them a little bit. I think the Dodgers are a good team. I really do. So I do think the team out of the American League West will go to the World Series. And I'll go, right now the Dodgers, let's move on to the Dodgers here. I just got done with the Rangers. The Dodgers, I do think, are playing pretty well, man. Like that pitching staff, it looks like they're getting themselves together. So right now with the Dodgers, they've won 7 straight games. Urias looked great today. 9-1 over the last 10. They lead the AL West by 2.5 games. right? This past week they beat the Padres 13-7 in the final game of the series. They won both versus the Diamondbacks. They won the first 3 against the Rockies, and they won today, obviously. So, Jeff Passan just tweeted something. Got an update from Jeff Passan. Tampa Bay shortstop Wander Franco did not travel on the team plane to San Francisco, where the Rays will start a series with the Giants. The Rays earlier said Major League Baseball are doing their due diligence concerning social media posts from earlier today about Franco. So we got some developments there. Franco not going to San Francisco. So that's what I'm saying. We got to just kind of wait for everything to come out. Anyway, for the Dodgers, I just realized they made a mistake. Thank you in the chat. Rhino and Savage. Sorry. 8 straight wins. I didn't see the end of the game. No, I correct myself. It is 8 straight wins. They swept the Rockies this weekend. The offense has been great. 5th in WRC plus over the last 7. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman continue to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the game. Peralta, Altman, they've been hitting well. The pitching is really getting themselves together. The Dodgers starting pitching is starting to get it together. They're starting to get it together. Lance Lynn, Urias pitched well today. Lynn has been pitching great for the Dodgers since coming over. 18 innings, 4 earned, 22 Ks for Lance Lynn. He looks like a new man with the Dodgers. Urias, he's been really good, man. Kershaw, he came back against the Rockies. 5 innings, 1 earned. The bullpen is looking really good. 2nd in FIP over the last 7. I'm telling you, man, the Dodgers... I know hope springs eternal. I know the Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, they choke in the playoffs, but you don't want to sleep on this Dodgers team. You don't want to sleep. Coming in next at number 2, I'm sticking with the Orioles. Hey, big series win over the Mariners this weekend. The Mariners have been hot, right? And they came up big in the end, winning that series. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Astros, but they got it together and won 2 out of 3 against the Mariners in the weekend. Offense has been cold. I did think about moving the Orioles down, but because they they got the series win against the Orioles, I decided to keep them in this spot. But the offense as a whole has been slumping. Mountcastle and Rushman they've been hitting well, but the offense as a whole has been slumping. Starting pitching only ranks 24th in FIP. Cole Irvin, though, he has been pitching. He did pitch pretty well in his return to the rotation. He went to the bullpen for a little bit. Now he's back in the rotation. 5 innings, 6 Ks against the Mariners. Grayson Rodriguez, he's been pitching well since getting called back up. The bullpen still continues to be good despite blowing the game against the Astros with Kyle Tucker and his grand slam. So overall, I still think the Orioles, they're a good team. They're a good team. The Braves at number 1. I don't know what else to say about the Braves. All I will say is that the Braves, man, this team has been absolutely clobbering everyone. Once again, this Braves team, man, they're good. They are good. I mean, come on. Here we go. Let's go take a look at some of the stats over the last week. Matt Olson hitting home runs left and right. We still got over a month of baseball, and Matt Olson's at, what, 43 home runs now? I think he's at 43. Hold on a second. Let me just double check here. Let's see. Yeah, 43 home runs for Matt Olson now. And he's through 117 games. Dude, this guy, what is the pace that he's on? Let's see. 43 divided by 117. Let's say he plays 150. I mean, he's on pace for 55 home runs if he plays 150 games. If he plays I'm not sure how many days off he's had up to this point, but he's on pace for at least, if he plays 150 games, 55 home runs. So I'm just saying, over a 162 game stretch, he's on pace for Dr. Slicknuts in the chat, 59 and a half home runs over a 162 game stretch. Matt Olson, man, good grief, what a pickup that has been. But let's take a look at some of these players here from the Braves over the last 7. I mean, my goodness. These guys have been just killing it. Hold on. Let's pull up the numbers here. Here we go. Everyone is hitting. I mean, look at this. Matt Olson going crazy. But coming into today, he was hitting 387 with a 525 on base and 806 slugging over his last 8. Ozzie Albies hitting 395 over his last 8. Austin Riley hitting 343. Michael Harris II hitting 387. Ronald Acuna Jr. a 400 on base. This offense has been nuts. I mean, look at this. Ozzie Albies 13 RBIs over his last 8 coming into today. I mean, come on. I mean, this is nuts. It's nuts. The starting pitching, I will say, though. Starting pitching. They're still not quite there. I think they're only 20th in FIP over the last 7 games. Fried and Strider have been pitching well, but they need the full staff to really come together. Bullpen over the last 7 has a 2.48 ERA. Iglesias and Johnson have been pitching well in the bullpen. The Braves are looking really good right now. Looking really good. I know you're asking me for a World Series prediction. I think I would like to say either the Mariners, the Astros, or the Rangers are going to come out of the American League. And then you got the Braves in the National League or the Dodgers, I would like to say. I think the Phillies, you shouldn't sleep on them. You could have a bunch of matchups. I think the Braves and the Mariners would be just such a fun series. Like, that would be awesome. The Braves and the Rangers would be a fun series. I mean, come on. That would be awesome. Those offenses in the World Series, are you kidding me? I mean, come on. I mean, shoot, the Braves and the Orioles would be fun. Dodgers and the Rangers would be fun. Dodgers and the Mariners, I think, would be a fun series. Shoot, you know? I mean, come on. There's like Phillies and the Rangers would be fun. I mean, there's just so many matchups that I think would be awesome. Andrew Purdue, I do like the O's, man. I do like them. I don't know about the starting pitching. I just don't know if they have enough starting pitching right now. I like them. They have really been a tough team this year, man. Obviously, they've been a good team, but they've been a tough team, right? That's what I like about them. So I wouldn't underestimate them. It's going to be hard in that American League. And what I like better about the Rangers and the Astros and the Mariners is the starting pitching. Like, when you got those guys in playoff series, I mean, come on. That's going to be tough, man. The Orioles, I don't know. They got a few decent guys, but I don't know if they have playoff caliber guys. But then again, I'm wrong a lot, so I'll have to wait and see. But I do like the Orioles, though. I think they're going to be tough. Oscar Cervantes, how you doing, my friend? Hey, Robbie, long time no see. Oscar, nice to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Everyone, these are my rankings. I'm out of here for tonight. I'm tired. I got to work in the morning. I wanted to do this a little earlier, and I got sidetracked. I've just been running a little behind today. But everyone, if you can, hit that like button for me on the way out. The goal was 100 for tonight. Where did we get to? We got to 138. Oh, also, my goodness, I almost missed a super chat from SoundFX09. My goodness, how could I almost miss the super chat? Holy cow. SoundFX09, $10 super chat. Braves remain at number 1. Thank goodness. Not the best week, splitting with the Pirates. Yeah, I didn't mention that. But they look good against the Mets. But we did win the series against the Mets. Big week, though. 9-game homestand with 3 versus the Yankees and 3 versus the Giants. Bring them on. Hey, to me, man, I got all the confidence in the Braves. They're just so good. I will say, with the Braves, I will say, the one thing about the Braves that does worry me a little bit, and maybe I'm jumping to, maybe it's not that big of a deal. I will say, though, the strength of schedule up to this point, I don't think it matters all that much because I think the Braves are that good, but the strength of schedule has not been very hard for the Braves. That's the only thing I really worry about them with. They rank 27th in strength of schedule as of right now, up to this point. So, I'm just saying. But against over 500 teams, if we were to go look at that, the Braves, they have a good record against teams over 500. They're 40-25. So it's kind of funny how they have a 40-25 record over teams over 500, but their strength of schedule ranks near the bottom. That's just like weird to me. So I don't know. I think the Braves, though, they're really good. They're really good. They're really good. Kyle Y, few decent guys. Okay, if we were to go look at I know you're talking about the Orioles. I mean, if we're going to look at the Orioles here, we're going to go look at the Orioles. I mean, come on. Well, they don't got like Luis Castillo over here. I mean, they got a decent rotation. Gibson's been good this year. Bradish. When I say decent, I mean that when I say decent, I mean that as good, right? So I'm like how they used to use the word decent back in the 80s, right? They used to, the word decent back in the day used to be like a good word to use, right? But they have a good rotation. They don't have like a frontline guy, in my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, but if you got, I don't know, if you got like what, game one, Kyle Gibson, Luis Castillo. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning on Castillo there, in my opinion. That's just me. You do have, Bradish has been good this year. I'll definitely give him credit. Bradish has had a good year. So if we were to look at Bradish real quick, he's under a lot of control too. Bradish has been good. A 3.19 ERA, 3.77 FIP, 8 strikeouts per 9. I mean, decent numbers when I'm just thinking of like ace caliber guys. Like, he's not like in that tier 1 for me. Like, when I'm thinking of like top of the rotation guys, I'm thinking of like Gosman for the Blue Jays, Zach Wheeler for the Phillies, Strider for the Braves, Kirby or Luis Castillo for the Mariners. You know what I mean? Like, Bradish is good, I don't know if he's like in that top 10, right, is what I'm saying, right? Anyway, I'm out of here. Everyone. I am tired. I got to wake up in the morning. I got to get my shut-eye. Everyone, thank you for joining me tonight. It's always greatly appreciated, as always. Go get yourself some rest. Expect some content this week. I'm going to start trying to get back onto the wagon. It's been a little quiet this past week, so be on the lookout, everyone. Be on the lookout. Everyone, always appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great night, and I'll talk to you next time.